Part 49. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 481. Alize, please go back and sort out for me the major international popular brands, including their main designers, and the trend of fashion in the past 20 years, you are an expert in this field. I don't know exactly what you need to learn. Just look at the data integration. Yes, Alexei's green eyes were shining. Alexei was delighted. Unexpectedly, she would be able to provide information to the captain one day. Let's continue playing the third video, Cheng Ling said. The third video begins. This video, in terms of clarity, theme, and composition, is a perfect match for the first two videos. Moreover, the screen finally stopped shaking. This video was supposedly shot with a drone. The scene suddenly changed from a dirty Paris street to a clean one. A huge white statue of Christ with arms outstretched appeared on the screen. Behind is the blue sky and white clouds. This is the most famous and iconic statue in Rio de Janeiro, country B. After taking the picture of the statue for a few seconds, it started to move, and the scenery below changed rapidly. Soon, the drone flew to the scar of the city, a large slum. The screen is filled with densely packed dilapidated buildings, random and scattered, like the building blocks built by a 3-year-old child. This kind of house, when viewed through a screen, gives people a feeling of suffocation and despair. Not to mention the people who live in them. The drone gradually approached the slum, and the dangerous buildings on the screen gradually expanded. From a distance, the slums still have a certain sense of beauty, but when you get closer, this beauty disappears. Domestic garbage, dirty water, and mud pits are everywhere. Children in the slums wear tattered clothes, step on garbage and puddles with bare feet, and use their hands to catch strange bugs in the puddles. There are wires everywhere, dividing the sky into countless small fragments. The copper core of many wires is exposed. The drone moves forward. People heard the buzzing and looked up. The old man with wrinkled face looked numb. There were many scantily clad girls posing for the drones and posing in sexy ways. When the children saw the drone, they burst into screams of surprise. Then, one by one, they grabbed rocks and threw them at the drone. The drone immediately gained altitude. People in slums are getting smaller and smaller. Finally, the small ones are like a swarm of ants. The drone continued to move, and soon, a magical scene appeared on the screen. A wall divides the area into two distinct areas. On one side are dense and dirty slums, on the other side are spacious and clean wealthy areas. The local government has deprived the poor of many rights, including but not limited to the rights to have children, receive education, advanced medical care, move around the city as they please, and so on. In order to protect the rich from being disturbed by the poor, the government built walls to separate the poor from the rich. Half hell, half heaven. The drone flew towards the beach. The wide and flat golden beach is scattered with beach chairs and colorful parasols. Beauties wearing bikinis with extremely small coverage are enjoying the baptism of sunshine comfortably. The men wore beach shorts, held wine glasses, and talked loudly. The drone rose again and flew towards the sea. The vast and boundless sea reflects the sunshine. Alexei pressed the pause button. The third video, which lasts 12 minutes and 15 seconds, is over. Cheng Ling closed her eyes and fell into brief contemplation. There was a strange and fantasy feeling permeating Cheng Ling's consciousness. She vaguely felt a little inspiration, but this inspiration was very subtle, like white smoke floating in the air. When you grab it, it disappears without a trace. But you clearly know that it is there. But the harder I grabbed it, the less trace there was. Alexei remained silent. After pondering for a moment, Cheng Ling opened his eyes and looked at Alexei. Do you know how many videos there are in here? As far as Cheng Ling knows, This type of videotape can record up to 90 minutes of video material. Alexei held up 4 fingers and said, "There are 4 videos in total." Then continue, Chen Ling said. She concentrated on thinking and couldn't find the mystery. When her focus shifted, her subconscious mind would help her point out the weirdness in the 3rd paragraph. But Alexei made no move. Chen Ling raised his eyebrows and looked at her. "What's wrong?" Alexei bit his lip and his face turned slightly red. "That, the 4th video is a restricted, adult film. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment." Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 482. Chen Ling was slightly stunned. Her eyes passed over Alexei's red cheeks. The team members had seen this kind of film before, and Alexei was calm and even compared his figure with the heroine in the film. Chen Ling's face was reflected on the paused computer screen. Maybe Alexei has not adapted to his current appearance yet, and subconsciously regards himself as an outsider. Chen Ling said naturally, "Oh. Got it, play it. This video has sound, big sister, do you want to wear headphones? So as not to cause misunderstandings." Alexei scratched her red cheeks. What if someone heard it? They would think that big sister lived alone in the hotel, lonely, and watched the film to cultivate her sentiments. That makes sense. Chen Ling took out the headphones from her computer bag and plugged them in. Alexei may feel a little embarrassed, so he took out a bottle of soda water from the refrigerator in the room, drank it in small sips, and looked at the screen from time to time. At the beginning of this film, there was nothing unusual. The camera switches from one place to another. There are bedrooms, the wild, cars. Men and women, women and men, women and women, men and men, none of them show their faces. From the body language, it can be seen that both parties are not forced, but willing. It's just that the figures of the men and women in the video are mostly not as good as those of the actors in serious adult films. They should not be professional filmmakers. The screen is full of white, black, yellow, and various shaking bodies. There is no beauty. Each one is mating like an animal. Chen Ling tried hard to find the theme of this short film other than sexual impulse. Unsuccessful. At this moment, Chen Ling understood why Uncle Zhang asked Alexei to deliver this videotape. On the one hand, it is trust. On the other hand, it is also because of this 4th video. The 4th video was played for about 10 minutes, and the content finally changed. After Chen Ling saw the screen clearly, his stomach churned. The protagonist of the screen has changed again. This time, it was not the gender that changed, but the species. And only one of the parties changed. Man versus sheep, woman versus dog, man versus female gorilla. Chen Ling has always disliked monkeys and gorillas because they are too human. The more intelligent the gorilla is, the easier it is to trigger the uncanny valley effect, causing physiological rejection and disgust. And at this moment, Chen Ling's rejection of gorillas has reached its peak. Human AIDS comes from gorillas. As early as the First World War, the French and Belgian coalition forces attacked Cameroon, a German colony in Africa. These soldiers encountered a blockade by the German army and were trapped in the woods. Because of hunger, they hunted chimpanzees for food. Another saying is that the soldiers had unspeakable things with chimpanzees in order to vent. And chimpanzees contain AIDS viruses. Whether it is the soldiers who were injured in the process of hunting chimpanzees, came into contact with chimpanzee blood, and were infected with AIDS, or it was caused by sexual relations, this human immunodeficiency syndrome has become one of the major infectious diseases that humans cannot overcome. Human HIV all comes from chimpanzees. The closer a species is to humans, the easier it is for them to transmit the virus they carry to humans. The uncanny valley effect is actually to protect humans. Chen Ling has a strong mental strength and is very capable of resisting bloody, violent, or perverted videos. But at this moment, She felt a little overwhelmed when she looked at the cross-species video on the screen. Fortunately, the fourth video stopped abruptly after 20 minutes. The man and the horse disappeared on the screen. The screen turned blank. The last picture remained on the retina. Is it over? Chen-Ling pulled off her headphones, held the phone line in her palm, and asked Alexei, who was standing behind her drinking soda water, is it finished? Yes, big sister. Alexei flattened the empty soda can in his hand, bent down and threw it into the trash can. The videotape is not completely recorded, and the rest is blank. Chen-Ling hugged her arms in front of her chest, leaned back in the chair, closed her eyes, and sorted out her thoughts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 483. What is hidden in this messy videotape? She had no clue at the moment. There is only a hint of inspiration, but it is fleeting. The first paragraph, the lawns and sky of Australia. The second paragraph, the streets of Paris in country F. The third paragraph, the slums and rich areas of Rio de Janeiro in country B. The fourth paragraph, the mating desire of animals. Is there any intrinsic connection between this? There was no theme and it was unclear, but Chen-Ling knew that there must be important information in it that she had ignored. This videotape can appear at the auction on Golden Island. The German boss even sent members of the H-Rangers to buy this videotape. After getting the videotape, he also wanted to silence the buyer. Chen-Ling pressed hard on his temple with the fingertips of his left hand. The computer keeps playing a blank videotape. The videotape player makes a mechanical whirring sound as it spins the tape. The remaining bubbles in the can will occasionally make a small popping sound. After thinking for 10 minutes, Chen-Ling couldn't figure out the reason. She gave up. Chen-Ling pressed the pause button and said to Alexei, who was standing quietly aside. Do you have any more rubber gloves? Give me a pair. Good. Alexei dug into his coat pocket, took out a pair of individually packaged latex gloves, and handed them to Chen-Ling. Chen-Ling put on gloves and ejected the videotape from the videotape player. She held the videotape in her hand and looked at the surface details over and over again. The manufacturer of this tape is a famous brand in Neon Country. I weighed it with my hands and found it was about 120 g. Seeing Chen-Ling's action, Alexei said, Sister, Uncle Zhang said that this videotape was produced in 2008 and has almost the same weight as the videotapes of the same batch, both 125 g. Chen-Ling said softly, stood up and walked to the bathroom. The lights in the bathroom are brighter, which helps Chen-Ling observe. She turned on all the lights in the bathroom, including the vanity mirror light, and the bathroom was brightly illuminated. Under the illumination of the light, every tiny scratch on the surface of the videotape is extremely clear. Chen-Ling watched carefully. The tape has a smooth surface with only very minor signs of wear. The screws holding the videotape in place have sharp edges, there are no signs of being twisted with a screwdriver. It doesn't look like there's anything hidden inside the tape. Chen-Ling looked over it several times and was convinced that there was no information hidden on the surface of the videotape, so she gave up. She went back and inserted the tape into the player again. The hidden information is hidden in those 4 videos. What does the secret hidden in the videotape have to do with? Ordinary people accidentally saw this tape. Except for the last paragraph, it was very impactful, but not very new. In the modern internet age, if you surf long enough, you can see everything. Chen-Ling rewound the videotape and started watching it from the beginning. I read it 3 times over and over again. For the last time, Chen-Ling ripped the contents of the videotape onto his computer. Then he took out the videotape and gave it back to Alexei. It's already 3:30 in the morning. Chen Ling yawned, I've finished reading the stuff, and I don't have any clue at the moment. Uncle Jiang's people are waiting outside. Alexei nodded. Okay, hurry up and take the videotape back. Tell Uncle Jiang, I will think about the videotape carefully. Alexei put the videotape away and looked at Chen Ling with some reluctance. Sister, come to school to see me when you have time, I'm very lonely. This time is a special situation. Normally, Alexei stays at the orphanage. Well, if you are bored, you can ask my mother and sister to accompany you. It's different, Alexei whispered. Okay, I got it. Let's go. Chen Ling hugged her. There are still a few hours before dawn. She had to take the time to get some sleep. Chen Ling rarely dreams. Maybe she had a dream because she was injured during the day and overused her brain. She dreamed of her adoptive father, Amos Joyce. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 484. She dreamed of a small incident that happened when she was 6 years old. This incident was hidden at the edge of Chen Ling's memory, in a corner that was almost forgotten. This kind of memory, if you don't think about it again, will be forgotten forever. It was an autumn evening. She lives in Amos's villa on the west coast, by the ocean. Little Chen Ling was sitting on the carpet at the end of the corridor on the second floor, next to the floor-to-ceiling windows, and she could see the blue sea outside. The sunset, close to the sea, the sky is illuminated by the red sunset. Xiao Chen Ling is practicing quickly disassembling and installing a 1911 pistol. Her slender fingers were seen flexibly and skillfully removing the magazine, pulling the barrel, and removing the empty magazine hook lever. Then flip the safety to the disengaged position, smoothly detach the gun body, push the slide forward to remove, and then remove the firing pin and recoil spring. A complete pistol is disassembled into many small parts. Then, she reversed the above steps. Reassemble the broken parts back into the shape of the gun. She used the clock on the wall as a timer. Instead of staring, use your ears to listen to the sound of the pointer clicking and clicking. She sat on the shag carpet illuminated by the setting sun. A porcelain doll-like girl with neat short hair, playing with cold weapons in her hands, half of her face illuminated by the sunlight outside the window. There is a strange beauty of contrast. When Chen Ling was a child, there were no children's toys such as dolls, plasticine, and princess dresses. Her toys are computers, miniature racing cars specially made for children, boxing dummies, computers, mainly used to learn programming languages. Chen Ling did not feel angry because of this. On the contrary, she was glad that she spent her childhood like this. If she was like other girls, wearing cumbersome tutu skirts and playing silly tea party games every day, she would definitely collapse. Chen Ling especially likes weapons. Usually when playing with guns, she would devote 100% of her concentration. However, little Chen Ling was distracted today. She was listening attentively. Not far from the corridor is the study room. The adoptive father Amos was having a heated argument with two mysterious visitors. The reason why it is said to be mysterious is because Chen Ling did not see their appearance and did not know their ages. Moreover, she only met those two people once. Chen Ling saw the housekeeper taking them upstairs and went straight to the study. From their clothing and the sounds in the study behind them, she could tell that they were two men. Both of them were wearing gentlemen's hats, their trench coat collars were raised high, their heads were lowered, and their steps were hurried. Based on the height difference between the two people and the door, window, and oil painting hanging on the wall, Chen Ling was able to deduce the height of the two people, excluding the height of their heels. The two naked people were about 1.73 meters tall and the other about 1 meter tall. Meters 82. Due to his status, Amos never lacked visitors. But Chen Ling had an impression of these two visitors. In the heart of little Chen Ling, his adoptive father was the most powerful person. Amos could give orders to anyone, and he could lose his temper with anyone, but he had never seen anyone lose his temper with Amos. But these two people were in the study, yelling and losing their temper at Amos. Moreover, Amos was clearly at a disadvantage. Little Cheng-Ling regards Amos as family. Naturally, she was unhappy when her family members were scolded. So, with a cold face, she disassembled and assembled the gun over and over again. Fragmented conversations drifted from the study. "We make money from the low-end population, purge, I don't approve," Amos said angrily. "The president's wishes, cannot be defied, are limited. The plan has been carried out, history, proves. Hate kids, propaganda. Energy, disobedient, sanctions." Then, Amos roared like a lion, "Do you want my life?" With a click, Xiao Cheng-Ling loaded the magazine filled with ammunition, took the gun, stood up from the carpet, and walked towards the study. 1 step, 2 steps. Her hand rested on the doorknob. At this time, she heard a noise. Knock knock knock. Cheng-Ling frowned. Cheng-Ling, a familiar and friendly voice, called his name. Xiao Cheng-Ling covered her head. "Ling-Ling, Cheng-Ling." She knelt on the carpet and wanted to reach for the doorknob, but the voice persisted in calling her. She stubbornly refused to give up and stretched out her hand. "Cheng-Ling." Cheng-Ling suddenly sat up from the bed and immediately touched the gun under the pillow. Didn't touch the gun. But he touched a cold dagger. Cheng-Ling looked around at the surroundings. The commercial decoration reminded her that she was in a hotel room. It turns out that it was a dream. Sister Zhen's voice came from outside the door again. "Ling-Ling, are you okay?" Cheng-Ling has always been particularly vigilant. He will answer immediately after knocking on the door. Wang Zhen was very anxious. This was the first time that she had been banging on the door for so long, but Cheng-Ling didn't respond. Was he retaliated against? Was there an accident? All kinds of terrifying thoughts came one after another. Wang Zhen decided that if Cheng-Ling didn't say anything, she would call the hotel waiter to open the door. "Cheng." The shouting stopped abruptly. The door opened. Cheng-Ling had a messy head of hair and a tired face. She rubbed her eyes with her intact left hand. "Good morning, Sister Zhen, I just woke up." Wang Zhen breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Why did you sleep so deeply?" "It may be because of the medicine." Cheng-Ling raised her right hand wrapped in gauze. "I was anesthetized during the day, and the after effects are quite strong, plus I stayed up late." Wang Zhen nodded. "I discussed it with Director Su quite late yesterday." Alexei came secretly, so Cheng-Ling naturally wouldn't tell Wang Zhen. She was still immersed in the dream just now. The dream was too real. The moment she opened her eyes, she thought she was a 6-year-old girl, and she would see Amos as soon as she opened her eyes. My temples were throbbing. Cheng-Ling tried hard to think, what happened on the day when she was 6 years old? Did she really go to open the door of the study at that time? When did the two visitors leave? She couldn't remember it anyway. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 485. On the spacious highway. A black nanny car was driving fast in the warm autumn sunshine. The driver was the Cheng family's full-time driver, Scarface Along. Most of the wounds on his body had healed, and after the scabs fell off, a light white mark was left. Wang Zhen and Cheng-Ling were sitting in the comfortable back seat. Cheng-Ling stared out the window, not knowing what she was thinking. Wang Zhen, who was sitting next to her, kept chattering. Our company and your family's live broadcast platform jointly launched a special topic, My Meeting with Cheng-Ling, which will broadcast this fan meeting live. The expenses generated by the live broadcast can be divided among the 5 fans at their discretion. We have communicated with the 5 fans, and the 5 of them unanimously agreed to the live broadcast plan. But now this contract has not been signed. The higher UPS asked me to ask for your opinion. If there is no problem, sign it. If you don't want to, you don't have to broadcast live. The 5 fans carefully selected by Chengling are not in particularly good financial conditions. If this live broadcast can attract many people to watch, the income will be considerable. If they share it with their fans, then their future will surely be even more brilliant. Are all 5 willing? Chengling asked. Yes. Very willing. Then start the live broadcast. Please tell the company. After saying that, Chengling turned her head to one side again and continued to look out the window without focus. Wang Zhen called the Cheng family and Xinjiao Fengxian company respectively to confirm that the live broadcast could be started. After hanging up the phone, Wang Zhen asked Chengling with some concern. Lingling, I feel that you are worried today. What's wrong? If you have any trouble, tell me. Chengling turned her head and looked at Wang Zhen, and said slowly, Sister Zhen, have you ever suddenly remembered your childhood? Those things that you thought you had forgotten, but are actually hidden deep in your memory. Wang Zhen smiled bitterly, yes dash. Huh, Chengling raised his eyebrows and looked at her with interest. Sometimes I watch short videos or Weibo and see people saying that they have brothers and sisters at home, and their parents are partial to them, which leads to unfair treatment. I think of many things from my childhood. Wang Zhen has an older brother. Her family favors boys over girls. Before Wang Zhen went to junior high school, she had never bought anything new, whether it was clothes or toys. Her things were always left over by her brother or things he didn't like. You mean, Chengling thought, you saw the same thing as you, and associated it with the hurt you had suffered, so it brought back your memories. Yes, that's it. Wang Zhen nodded. It seems that this memory should have some secret connection with the videotape. Don't underestimate your brain. If you think hard about something, your brain will help you find clues when you dream. One Watson, James Watson, and Crick, brainstormed day and night to try to find the reasonable chemical structure of DNA. They used pieces of paper and various models to piece together the combination, but they never got the right answer. Until one night, Watson had a dream of 2 snakes entwined together. When he woke up, he realized that 2 snakes entwined, exactly the chemical structure that DNA should have. In this way, they found the double helix structure of DNA. For another example, Larry Page, the founder of Google search engine, made a search engine in his dream one night. After waking up, he immediately started to write algorithms, and Google was born. Chengling guessed that she recalled this past event in the form of a dream because she had been thinking hard about the content of the videotape. This memory may be closely related to the videotape. So, she pasted every English word that the visitor argued with Amos onto the content of the videotape. She fell into thinking again. However, she did not have much time to think. The car slowly stopped. I only heard Aaron say, Miss, we have arrived at Muxin Villa. Chengling looked out the window and saw the 5 fans she had chosen to meet standing outside the villa, waving at her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 486. In addition to the 5 fans, there were also some staff from Muxin Villa, as well as photographers from the live broadcast platform, on-site field staff and other staff, as well as some onlookers. These 5 fans come from all walks of life, old and young, male and female. They are He Jinyu, a 16-year-old female high school sophomore. The 52-year-old pancake seller Sister Xia. Xiaomei, a 29-year-old housewife. 36-year-old Itman brother Seong. Sen, a 22-year-old male college student. Chen Ling had already gained a certain understanding of each person's life history, appearance, career age, etc. through the internet. Aaron parked the car, and the attendant at the door stepped forward and opened the door. Sister. Teacher Chen Ling. Wife. Ling Ling. The crowd erupted in shouts. 16-year-old He Jinyu put her hands on her hips and shouted to the crowd, "Mom, you shouted too loudly." Chen Ling got out of the car and greeted them full of energy, "Hi, everyone, I've been waiting for a long time. Is your stay last night okay? Marvelous. I have never stayed in such a high-end hotel." The 5 fans said all kinds of things. After Chen Ling selected 5 fans and published their online names on Weibo, Chen Group employees were responsible for subsequent confirmation, docking, and itinerary arrangements. Each person can bring one companion. For safety and insurance purposes. All food, accommodation, transportation, and daily expenses for fans and fellow travelers will be borne by the Chen Group. Chen also specially prepared very exquisite local specialty souvenirs for fans. Yesterday afternoon, 5 fans, their families, and friends arrived at Muksen Villa and stayed at Muksen Villa, spending a very luxurious and happy night. The mountain resort has very complete vacation equipment, riverside campsites, bonfire parties, skiing or grass skiing, off-road driving, etc., which is very suitable for gatherings of several people. In addition to the jaw-dropping sumptuous buffet dinner, the villa also provides high-end services such as game arcades, spa, and hot springs. Everyone is content. He Jinyu was the youngest and most lively. When he saw Chen Ling standing in front of him, he rushed up and circled around Chen Ling. "Oh my God! He's alive! He's alive!" He Jinyu's excited voice was shrill. Then, she shouted to a smiling middle-aged woman in the crowd behind her, "Mom, are you relieved now? It's not a lie. Relatives and friends of fans are not the protagonists, they are just accompanying and standing on the periphery." He Jinyu stuck out his tongue at Chen Ling, "Sorry, I'm so excited, my mother has always been worried that this is a scam, saying that this kind of pie-in-the-sky activity might be some new type of fraudulent MLM, or it might be a human trafficker group. Specialized in kidney dash." Chen Ling said with a smile, "I think it's normal for your mother to be worried. If it were me, I would be worried too." The live camera was pointed at Chen Ling. Chen Ling said to the camera seriously, "Although I have said it many times, I will say it again, remember, my company and I will publish the list on Weibo, and any notification received in any form is false. Please be vigilant and refer to the official list." After saying that, she turned her head and patted He Jinyu's shoulder gently with her left hand, "Xiao, you are as cute as I imagined." He Jinyu screamed in a low voice, "Ah, eldest sister, you remember my name." Chen Ling shook hands with the remaining 4 fans one by one and called their names accurately. Everyone's face was filled with smiles. After Chen Ling shook hands, he led them into the villa gate, "Let's go inside and chat. Don't block the door." In addition to He Jinyu, who is lively in the outfield, Sister Xia, who spreads pancakes, is also very talkative, probably due to professional reasons. The other 3 people were relatively introverted, and because they were facing the camera, they didn't say much. They just looked at Chen Ling and smiled. "Everyone has stayed here for one night and is more familiar with this place than I am. It's up to you to decide our activities." Considering Chen Ling's injured hand, the 5 fans decided to feed the animals first after discussion. Muksen Villa has a large animal feeding area. There are alpacas, fallow deer, prairie dogs, sheep, cows, ponies and more. Chen Ling chatted and interacted happily with them. After a while, the villa sent fruit tea and snacks. There were tables and chairs outdoors, and they sat around them, eating snacks and chatting casually. After a night of contact, the five people became familiar with each other. While Chen Ling was drinking tea, Sister Xia and He Jinyu chatted. It's normal for you high school students to be miserable, but you don't know how much I envy you. To tell you the truth, my monthly net income from selling pancakes is higher than that of many white-collar workers and gold-collar workers, but I am still unhappy. The reason why Chen Ling chose Sister Xia was that Sister Xia lived a very serious life. In Sister Xia's time, her family believed that it was not necessary for women to study. So, after Sister Xia finished junior high school, she went directly to work in a factory. Sister Xia has worked in many jobs, including disassembly, assembly, accessories, painting, cutting. The turning point was that her son, who was in high school, felt that studying was too hard and decided to drop out of school and work. Sister Xia became anxious and quarreled with her child. Finally, the child shouted, "You are just a pancake seller, you don't understand anything. You can't even speak a word of English." Sister Xia was speechless. But she was stubborn. The next day, she bought a quick English book and started studying by herself. What kind of crash course book? Good morning note, good morning. Sister Xia knows nothing about English, and it is very difficult to learn, so she can only rely on rote memorization. A retired teacher nearby saw her learning English, and occasionally came to give her some pointers and taught her the correct way to learn English. At the beginning of this year, Sister Xia passed the English Level 6 exam and is now preparing for the English Level 8 exam. Now she can watch English movies. And her child is now a college student. She came with her today. Chen Ling smiled and listened. He Jinyu listened very seriously. Because the family is too familiar, their experience and lessons are not heard. I only heard Sister Xia say, "You kids have never suffered. I remember I used to help my family do farm work." I only heard Sister Xia say, "When we used to farm, we had to spread quicklime before sowing seeds. Oh, there were no gloves at that time, so we just used our hands. After spreading quicklime, our hands felt so uncomfortable." He Jinyu asked, "Why do you spread quicklime?" Sister Xia said, "To kill insect eggs in the soil so that they don't eat crops when they grow up. When the crops grow up, it is also very hard. We have to regularly remove weeds in the fields to avoid competing for the nutrients of crops." The speaker is unintentional, but the listener is intentional. Hearing this, Chen Ling was stunned. Clear, kill, compete. She thought of someone. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 487. American legend, oil tycoon, John D. Rockefeller III. If you use Baidu to search for this legendary figure, you will find nothing. Because Baidu Encyclopedia only has 2 short lines of words to explain this legendary figure. The first line of words, John D. Rockefeller III is the grandson of John D. Rockefeller, 1906–1978. The second line of words, John D. Rockefeller III died in a 3-car pileup in 1978. The reason why Chen Ling thought of this big man is because this big man mentioned the problem of population growth in his speech at the United Nations in 1961. He believes that the rapid population growth is second only to nuclear weapons control in terms of harm. In response to this issue, J.D. Rockefeller III also wrote a 300,000-word paper on the paradox of world population growth and human civilization. From 26 fields such as military, politics, industry, agriculture, education, etc., he criticized the rapid growth of the world population. His real need was hidden in the middle of the paper. The world's resources are limited. The rapid growth of population will inevitably consume the limited resources on this planet: oil, water, air, food, etc. This paper attracted the attention of the US government. Because the government at that time adhered to the principle of putting the interests of the upper class of the country first. So, they started the plan to eliminate humanity. The first country to bear the brunt was a developing country in Latin America, country B, that is, the country with slums in the videotape. There is another reason why the United States targeted country B. Population is an important criterion for judging a great power. If the population of country B reaches a certain number, relying on country B's excellent geographical conditions and vast tropical rainforest resources, then country B will rise. Become a great power in Latin America. One day, it may even compete with the United States. The US government will not allow this to happen. So they took action. How to do it? The first step, brainwashing. The American government borrowed from the relevant practices of the British New Poor Law in the 19th century, that is, constantly instilling the idea that having children is wrong to the lower class people in country B, encouraging and supporting them to live for the moment, live in the present, and learn to enjoy life. But no one told them how miserable their old age would be if they had no offspring. A walk around the nursing home will change the idea of DINK for many people. At that time, country B's economy was backward, the medical level was extremely low, and educational resources were scarce. The government could not guarantee that all children of school age could get the education they deserved, so country B issued a series of measures to deprive the lower class people of their right to have children freely. This measure triggered fierce conflicts and the lower class people strongly opposed it. The government of country B was also somewhat shaken in the opposition. The United States saw that this was not okay, and this plan could not die. So they came up with a solution. That is, the second step, coercion and inducement. The United States stated that they would provide food aid to country B. Country B's economy is indeed very backward, and they are in urgent need of food. The government of country B was very happy. But America said, if you want to get food, you must implement the birth control policy in the country. Otherwise, forget it. So, the government of country B was determined and used a tough approach to isolate these low-level people in a place to live, namely, slums. In contrast, the other area is the rich area. All infrastructure, including hardware, housing, transportation, and software, education, medical care, in slums and rich areas, are treated differently. This move was successful. Then, the population of country B decreased sharply. But the economy of country B did not improve as a result, but instead some new crises emerged. The root cause of these crises is insufficient population. Later, country B finally reacted. At that time, country B discovered that there were more than 10,000 sterilization institutions in its own country, and almost all of these institutions were injected with American capital. But once the population growth rate drops, it is impossible to rise again. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 488. The population of country B has plummeted, giving the United States strong confidence. Their plan worked. As a result, their tentacles extended further. In addition to the two methods used against country B, brainwashing and coercion, they have found a new method. According to the annual income of the family, families can be divided into 10 categories simply and roughly. First level, annual income of more than 50 million, extremely rich. Second level, annual income of 10 million to 50 million, rich. Third level, annual income between 5 million and 10 million, middle income. Fourth level, annual income of 1 million to 5 million, little rich. Fifth level, annual income between 300,000 and 1 million, highly productive. Sixth level, annual income between 150,000 and 300,000, middle class. Seventh level, annual income between 80,000 and 150,000, well off. Eighth class, annual income between 30,000 and 80,000, poor. Ninth level, annual income of 10,000 to 30,000, very poor. 10th grade, negative annual income to 5,000 UN, poverty. The target group in the United States is the 4th to 10th class. Because they believe that the low-end population is not worthy of consuming the Earth's resources. Moreover, the third method is not only aimed at foreign countries, but also at the bottom of the country. Anyway, the United States is a superpower, and a large number of elites will flow in every year, and they do not have the anxiety of underpopulation. The specific method is, use the internet to publish many morally awe-inspiring videos, using morality to kidnap people and make people at the bottom fundamentally believe that having children is wrong. Human beings are the tumor of the earth. Human children are Satan incarnate. They came to take revenge on you. No mention of the upper-class elites having children like crazy. The eastern countries are overpopulated like locusts. They are the main culprits of global warming, accompanied by an environmental video. Polar bears cannot find ice to rest and die from exhaustion. Not to mention the countless luxury cars, various yachts and private jets owned by nobles. In some countries, carbon emissions exceed standards and food waste is serious. Look at the children in Africa, they are so pitiful. There is no mention of the carbon emissions produced by their fleet's global voyages, nor of the serious food waste in the United States. Most office buildings do not turn off the air conditioning 24 hours a day. Animals also have feelings, such as lobsters and crabs. They should be killed with electric shock before cooking. The carbon emissions caused by electric shock, oh, don't mention it at all. There is another self living in our body. Get to know the real self and fall in love with yourself. There are already 56 genders among the lower class people in the United States: a gender, genderless, gender fluid person, trans asterisk, transgender asterisk, can be any animal. In many American elementary schools and middle schools, 3 days out of a 5-day course are devoted to how to find one's true gender. The inevitable result of confusion about gender cognition is a decline in fertility. We pursue freedom, so we support the legalization of guns and marijuana. It doesn't matter, America doesn't care about the lives of the people at the bottom. However, they have cultivated many foreigners who support the United States and preach everywhere about how the United States is just, how correct, and how worthy of people's support. Among people in the 4th class and below, there are many people with overflowing sympathy, arrogance, self-righteousness, and a sense of moral superiority. These people quickly accepted the brainwashing and moral coercion of the United States. As a result, in many Asian countries, Latin American countries, and even European and American societies, the sentiment of hating and fearing children has exploded. These emotions have nourished a group of young and middle-aged people who hate children. They have no sympathy, no understanding, are unreasonable and unforgiving, and deliberately provoke social conflicts. Many people who fear children not only do not have children themselves, but also exclude and oppress families with children. Shops in Bangsa country often have signs saying children under 12 and seniors over 60 are not allowed to enter. The argument that my children only have cats and dogs, as for human children? Those are garbage appears in Neon Kingdom. There are frequent child-hating arguments in China, and there is no tolerance or understanding for infants under 3 years old. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 489. Many unscrupulous media with funds from enemy countries are deliberately provoking wars, covering up some key information, and intensifying contradictions and conflicts, driving left and right, opposing, provoking, tearing, infiltrating, reversing, inciting, and campaigning. Some people who lack the ability to think independently reject and hate the disadvantaged groups in society without distinction, and even have repeated aggressive incidents. And those who raise questions, analyze problems, and want to solve problems are attacked by people. Asterisk. Thinking of this series of things, Chen Ling looked back at the videotape and had an idea. The first shot of the blue sky and white clouds with no one in it means that with fewer people, higher people can enjoy a better quality of life. The second one is that the streets of Paris are full of garbage. It means that although the Western environmental protection slogans are loud, the implementation is obviously not so satisfactory. This one, Chen Ling can't figure it out for the time being. The third one, the slums and rich areas of country B, this is the medal of the human purge plan, and it is also the first case and the most successful one at present. Fourth, the desires of the lower classes are easily satisfied. If they indulge in their desires, they will not have the heart to have children. After all, raising children is extremely tiring. Wait. No. After the United States Human Purge Plan was exposed by an American reporter, many people and many national organizations have known about this evil plan. It has been more than 1 or 2 days. The videotape definitely hides deeper secrets. Big sister, He Jinyu spread her fingers and shook them in front of Chen Ling. Chen Ling came back to her senses and found that everyone was staring at her. Wang Zhen looked worried. Sorry, I was distracted just now, Chen Ling apologized. He Jinyu asked with concern, Big sister, are you too tired from filming, and you took out your precious time to accompany us? No, sorry, I just heard Sister Xia talking about farming, and I thought of my childhood, so I was distracted, Chen Ling said naturally. Programming brother Xiang was not as shy as he was at the beginning, and pushed his glasses. Ling, teacher, do you remember your grandpa who lived by the sea, took you to the mountains to catch rabbits, pick chestnuts, and told you ghost stories? Yes, you know it in detail. We all know all this. Everyone envies you for having such a good grandpa. He Jinyu asked, then big sister, what did you think of just now? Chen Ling did not pause at all, and took out what she had thought of in an instant. My grandpa has a vegetable garden. When I was a child, I liked to play in the vegetable garden. One of the plots was planted with a large area of corn. Grandpa went to pollinate the corn, and because I was too idle, I took the initiative to braid the corn, that is, corn silk. The corn grown by Grandpa is very good, the silk is very long, and it looks like hair. Chen Ling gestured. Ha 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 ha. Everyone laughed. Only He Jinyu didn't understand, what's wrong with braiding corn silk? Sister Xia explained, braiding corn silk won't kill the corn, but it will affect corn pollination. When the corn grows up, there will be no corn kernels. Chen Ling continued, when my grandfather found out, it was too late. The whole row of corn was braided. College student Sen Sen said, when I was a child, I never went to the farmland to play. I grew up in the city. I can't tell wheat from leeks. Brother Xiang said, when we were young, we all played with glass beads. The topic easily turned to the games we played when we were young. Some off-topic remarks by the author, put in the author's words for fear that some friends will not see it. I want to sincerely apologize to everyone due to my limited personal ability, limited writing skills, and limited knowledge. This paragraph of expression is likely to cause misunderstanding and dissatisfaction. I'm sorry. It's just that I saw, knew, and understood some things, and I hope to say them out to trigger readers' thinking and independent thinking, not to instill my own ideas and opinions. Do you want to buy this toy? Do you want to drink milk tea? Do you want to continue your education? Do you want to fall in love? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? These things are worth everyone's serious thinking. I hope everyone will think more about the major events in life. The meaning of reading is to let you discover yourself better. I will not, and I have no ability to change your thoughts. I am deeply sorry for the misunderstanding and dissatisfaction caused by this. I implore everyone, if you don't like or hate this novel, you can criticize me. But please don't attack the readers. No matter what the readers are, they may be students, mothers of children, employees, or retired uncles and aunts. Why do you mock them? I think that many students have deeper thoughts, are better at thinking and have more discernment than many adults. As for Bauma, calling a mother like this is full of ridicule. Many mothers of children are full of great wisdom. Just because they have children, they should be ridiculed by you. As for employees, retired uncles, and aunts, they also have their own ideas. Let's seek common ground while reserving differences. If you don't like it, please turn it off and don't blame readers at will. Those who criticize this novel on various public platforms, you say that my criticism is correct. But you are going too far in attacking the readers of the novel. If you have seen the expenditure of some countries on the public opinion war, if you have watched Yellow Peril, Yellow and White, and the BBC's Hell Filter, you will know that the public opinion war has already started. We have already lost a lot. In addition, I apologize for giving you such an impression that I am preaching again and have a strong fatherly flavor. Major choices in life must be carefully considered and considered more after making a choice. Stick to your choice and don't regret it. Finally, please care more about the vulnerable. Some people are just old and lack the ability to move, or are still babies, really ignorant, or are forced to be embarrassed by life. They have caused trouble to everyone. Please understand and care more. That's all. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 490. Everyone talked and laughed, and the initial nervousness and restraint disappeared. Netizens in the live broadcast room were extremely envious. I also want to be invited by the big sister. I don't know, what are the criteria for judging? The eldest sister's Weibo is there. If you read it, you will know that each of them works very hard in life. For example, Hee-jinyu was originally unwilling to study at all, but then he suddenly became enlightened just to meet his eldest sister, and his grades were like a rocket. The housewife was a little depressed after giving birth to her child. Later, she was influenced by her eldest sister and began to write. She is also a slightly famous writer. The charisma of idols is really strong. My mother has always opposed my pursuit of stars. Cheng Ling was the first celebrity that my mother supported me in pursuing. I am willing to spend money on the eldest sister, and I hope that the eldest sister's company will provide me with more opportunities to spend money on her. Supporting her means supporting the ideal world in my heart. I think of a male star in Neon Country who also selects fans to interact with. The way of interaction is that these selected fans can lie on the ground and let him walk over. A male singer in the United States is said to be particularly doting on his fans. The way he dotes on his fans is by spitting at the women in the audience. There is also a female celebrity in our country. The way she favors her fans is that fans can spend money to buy the clothes she wears, laughing to death. The price of the clothes is several times higher than brand new ones. On this point, I am a fan of Cheng Ling to the end. Hypocritical. Cheng Ling has no lower limit. This is how you catch people's attention. Just showing off. Haha, if you have the ability, the real owner of your family can also act cool. The real owner of your family doesn't even bother to pretend. After a while, the staff of Muksun Villa came to remind us that the lunch restaurant on the next mountain peak was open. The restaurant is built on the top of a very steep mountain and requires a cable car to reach it. So, everyone took the cable car to the restaurant. After getting on the cable car, Hee-jinyu leaned on the glass and looked down curiously. Sister Xia was afraid of heights and sat motionless in her seat with a pale face. Hee-jinyu pointed to the black dots on the upper edge of the glass and asked, "I've always been curious. There are these black dots on many glass windows, what are they used for?" Cheng Ling replied, "Prevent the glass from bursting due to uneven heating. Because the edges are not easy to absorb heat, we use the principle of black heat collection and rapid heat dissipation to balance the heat of the glass, thus achieving the function of protecting the glass. There are also small black dots on the edge of the front windshield and above the rear view mirror. These black dots are to reduce the damage caused by strong sunlight to the driver's eyes. Even the eldest sister knows this kind of unpopular knowledge. I would like to ask, looking at the entire entertainment industry, who else has a broader knowledge than the eldest sister? Stop bragging if you have the ability, compare it with university professors. My sister Ling is an actress, not a university professor. Why should I compare with university professors? Chen Ling is deliberately showing off. Why, do you think you are pretending to be stupid even though you know this knowledge point? If you really pretend to be stupid, you will say at that time, Chen Ling's know-it-all character has collapsed. Brother Xiang, a relatively taciturn programmer, pushed up his glasses and spoke in a heavy voice. This kind of tempered glass is very strong. Before, there was a heavy rain in the city where I worked, and the roads were flooded. A buddy was trapped in the car, he couldn't open the window, and there was no hammer in the car. When the rescue team found him, they said that his knees were broken trying to break the window, but the glass was not broken. I've heard about this too. Since that heavy rain, many people have hammers ready in their cars. When the glass can't be broken, that person must be feeling desperate. Chen Ling said, "Let me tell you a way to break the glass quickly. Use the rubber band around you, separate your index finger and thumb, put the rubber band on, then tie the ring or key to the outer rubber band, and pull the rubber band in the opposite direction, reach the limit, and then let go of the glass to break it easily. In addition, try to hit the edge of the glass. Because of the force in the middle, the entire glass surface will be stressed together and absorb energy. However, the frame has a fixed function and the deformation is small, which can maximize the effect of knocking." Sister Ling, you really know a lot of knowledge. I am the one who fell in love with the eldest sister in Desperate Survival. She is really amazing. She is extremely reliable. Sister, if you have any other interesting knowledge, please tell us. There is still some distance to go before the peak. Being idle is also idle. So, Chen Ling thought for a moment and said, "Yes, let me just mention a few that are practical and relatively easy to implement." Several people immediately listened attentively.